Now it's time to start our first session. Elhashimy is a software engineer at that group. His talk is going to be about the user experience and UX and how it affects people's lives.
السلام عليكم. أنا علي فيصل إسحاق software developer that group ICT. هتكلم عن user experience. قبل ما أبدأ أحب أشكر أخ أحمد والجوكو team و ICTnuggets على for giving me this opportunity to present here. I'll be presenting about user experience. UX. First, the abbreviation of UX is the U stands for user and the X stands for experience. It's a little bit different كده فهم دايما بتشيل الword letter interesting about the word. So a user experience is ممكن تكون كdevelopers أو software field أو ناس عندهم علاقة بأي user interface design يكونوا سمعوا بالterm بتاع UX أو user experience. My topic will be exactly about how user experience affects people's lives. Okay. So first, if يكون في كلمة عن user experience أو to start a presentation is to define or to determine what is user experience and what is user experience design. لو سألت أي زول من software field أو UI designer, user interface designer أو أي زول عنده علاقة بالweb development أو web design لو سألته عن what is user experience هتلقى إجابات كثير جدا. يعني ممكن زول يقول لك هي الخبرة المستخدم يعني how to design حاجة تليق بالخبرة بتاعت المستخدم ويقدر يفهم الديزاين. ممكن واحد تاني يقول لك لا user experience is about a good design. أنا لقيت بعد ما فتشت وعملت ريسيرش كثير في الإنترنت ولقيت قدامي user experience designers و developers و architects. The best definition of user experience, in my opinion, is I'm not a user experience designer, I'm not an architect. Like this is just an interesting topic that I found. So بعدين هوريكم إن أنا عايز أبقى user experience designer or أي زول ممكن يبقى user experience designer. So the best definition is UX is the intangible. The intangible, this is the most important word, the intangible design of a strategy that brings us to a solution. So the intangible design, يعني design غير محسوس. So any designer, UI designer, user interface designer designs a web page that is tangible design. يعني محسوس, you can see it, you can feel it, you can look at the colors, you can like it. لكن and user experience is the design behind the design. So this is user experience. The intangible design of a strategy that brings us to a solution, that brings us to a product, that leads us to a web app, a mobile app, a product. So أنا بصمم حاجة بصمم strategy to design the product عشان أصل للsolution بتاعي أو البرودكت أو الويب اب. So the interface, the user interface is not the solution. A solution هنا قصدنا this is not the user interface. This is exactly the user experience. So في battle كبير جدا ما بين UI والUX. في ناس بيقول لك the UX is UI. No, it's not. طيب لقدام هتعرفوا ليه user experience is not user interface design. طيب نحن نتكلم عن كلمة design. Design gets us to art. User interface design is zone of colors. Somebody knows how to order things, how to sort things مع بعض تطلع بشكل جميل, layout جميل. This is the interface design. لكن what is interesting about user experience? Interesting thing is there is a scientific process that proceeds to lead us to a solution. So user experience انت بتستخدم, you're a designer وبتستخدم scientific process عشان تقدر تصل ل the best or a good UX. طيب a scientific process يسمى user-centered design process. في ناس كتير بيهتموا بال لما تيجي design a product بتهتم بالكلاينت بتاعك او الكومباني او البزنس عاوز يطلع البرودكت ده بأي شكل, عاوز يعمل شنو, عاوز يبيعه كيف, عاوز يعني شنو الكاركترستكس اللي عايزها في البرودكت, شنو البروبرتيز. بس في ناس كثير ما بيهتموا باليوزر. This is a user center. بتحط اليوزر في النص. You measure your user needs, your business needs, and then the user needs. وبعد that you design. The next thing, you measure the user needs and the business needs, and then you design something, a product, a solution that matches those needs of the user and the business. And then you build the product. بعد that after having, you just launch the product. Not only to launch everything about it, just launch a small portion of the product وتعرضه للuser and show it to the user. So if he liked it, okay, you proceed with measuring another section, another portion, and then go to the design for that portion and proceed. This is the user-centered design process. It's a scientific process proved ومجربة في a lot of things. For the life cycle, أي زول عنده علاقة بالsoftware development أعتقد إنه these things are familiar. So measure, design, build, and launch is the user-centered design process. Okay. How people see UX? By people, I mean users. I mean even software developers. I mean web developers. I mean user interface. Everyone. How they see user experience, and especially stakeholders, business stakeholders. Those are the most important people that we have a massive problem of communicating with them. We as IT, عشان أقدر أوصل إنه these things takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to produce and to design and to build and to launch. فهم بشوفوا شنو ونحن دايرينهم أو user experience دايرين نشوف what to see. So this is typically a comparison between how UX want to be seen and how UX is typically seen. They always see two things: visual design, obviously, and interface design. I think you agree with me, right? But there are a lot of things you do as a software developer, UI designer, a user experience designer, that they don't see, but we want them to see. So field research, face-to-face interviewing, creation of user tests, gathering of information, creating personas, product design, feature writing, requirement writing, graphs, usability, and so on. So a lot of things that we do as user experience designers and developers and architects, we want them to see and to feel that we do as user experience designers, as developers, as user interface. It's important. Okay. I've been watching a presentation lately about user experience. Dan Wills was a presenter in DC, Washington DC Startup Weekend in 2011. This guy is amazing. He made something called the UX umbrella. It's a phenomenal image that really shows what is UX and what people or UX designers do in UX. So he named it the UX umbrella and how UX solve problems. This umbrella holds the 6 most important procedures, designs, things that user experience designers do, or everybody else in the software business. So visual design, everybody knows visual design, interface design, and then information architecture. This is important. Information architecture is, we can take like an hour just explaining what is information architecture. But I'll be moving to the interaction design, how users interact with the design, how the users interact with your application, with your product, with your software. Usability. Outside, definitely in Europe or the US or Canada, there are jobs called usability specialists. So those are specialists that they design, that they determine how products are usable, how products are being designed, the usability of the product. Okay, user research. So you research what users يستخدمون users اللي يستخدموا البرودكت بتاعك. What are the ages that are they above 50? Are they so below 30? Male, female, business architects, stakeholders, or just users. The last thing is the content strategy. Content strategy. The content strategy is a strategy that just organizes the content. It's pretty much about organizing the content of your application, of your product. Okay. Then, after explaining this user experience and what is it, and how you determine, how you take in content, how user experience users interact with the product. آخر حاجة أو يعني اللي قدام هنمشي who you should care about. So who? نتكلم عن stakeholders, businesses, and next نتكلم عن users. So who? The business, or the business needs, to be specific, the business needs, or the user needs. So this is a little bit tricky. People, people always take in consideration the business needs, and they forget the user. That's most of the time. UI designers, web developers, system architects, software engineers. Pretty much software engineers take care of the user, so the other guys. Anyway, so there's, if we put them on two circles, we should care about the intersection between them. التقاطع بين user needs and business needs. This is user experience. Okay. Why learning UX? User experience is the design, the intangible design of a strategy that takes us, or that leads us to a solution or a product or an app. But this is not interesting. Okay, how to design user experience, how to learn user experience. It's easy. People say that, but this is Dima Kifaya, Shmiya easy. But the question is, why learning user experience? عملت حياتي في 4 things. I guess 4 things, or I think 4 things is the best explanation of how or why you should learn user experience. First thing, you're already doing some of it. As a software developer, or if I can repeat the jobs more and more and more about user interface design, software development, web development, you do this, you're already doing some of user experience. The second thing is user-centered design process. So why? User-centered design process is a scientific process. So if you're a guy that, or a girl that care about scientific things and moving or building things based on scientific ways, based on proof, this is your thing. User-centered design process is a scientific way that helps us to design better or a good user experience. So the third thing, that is not hard. The first thing I said here in the beginning of this slide is, it is not hard, it is easy. Because of the first 2. You're already doing some of it, so you know what is it, right? The second thing is, user-centered design process is a scientific way. So it's not just a quasi-design or an artist that just designed some web page. No, it's scientific. So it is not hard. Last thing are 3 things. It is fun, challenging. It is fun and challenging because you always build new things. You always determine how user thinks, how businesses thinks, how to get this intersection between the business needs and the user. And there's a lot of things to take in consideration of doing this. So the last thing is, it has low barrier of entry. So you don't need a certification for it. You don't need a training. You don't need 3 months training or years of training to just do user experience. It's easy. It has low barrier of entry. And the most important thing, which I didn't put in here, because people always know this, and people always think about it, because it is money. It's profitable. So you're a user experience designer, you engage in everything, every single process of producing this product. So you are the name, you are the project, maybe you are the project manager in UX design, maybe you are the software engineer and also the UX designer. Here in Sudan, we don't have this user experience as a position, as a job. So somebody may ask me a question. I always talk about user interface designers, web designers, graphic designers. Oh no, graphic designers. User interface designers. So you can design. Yeah. Okay, no problem. You can design. This is not a problem. If you're some of these, if you can do visual design, information architect, user interface, okay, this is design, usability specialist, or marketing, yeah, you're not IT, you're marketing, you can be user experience designer. You have, did you do some product research before? Yeah, you can be a UX designer. Did you develop softwares? Do you code? You can be a user experience designer. Okay. Some of the great designers aren't good in UI design. Some of the great UX designers aren't good. Not that good in UI design. So they might have marketing, technology, user research, social media, or just user support. User support. You can be a UX designer. So, there's one thing. If you do it and enjoy doing it, you can be a great UX designer. It's just if you're enjoying asking tons of questions and enjoy doing that, to asking tons of questions and don't get bored of repeating these questions, of getting the right information, of getting the right data from users, from businesses, and asking those questions again to confirm that data, to prove that data, to prove that information, you can be a great UX designer. Okay. UX myth. UX myth. That was like 2 years ago. I was running through websites, like YouTube, and then watching some videos, running through websites, and researching about user experience. So I found a beautiful website called UXmyths.com. So UX myth. To explain what is UX, what is UX myth, it's the most frequent UX misconceptions. The most frequent UX misconceptions, and explain why they don't hold true. Okay. It's a website I created in, I guess, in 2009. I don't remember, but it's created by Switzerland. Now he is a UX designer. He's Zoltan Goksa. He's a Switzerland UX designer, an ex software developer. He was a web developer, software developer. And then with his colleague, also named Zoltan, but Zoltan Colin, he is a Hungarian and a UX designer too. Their goal is to give evidence that UX can help to convince stakeholders to move from personal opinions to a scientific way to determine how you can build your product. That's the only goal, that's the important goal that they created UXmyths.com. Okay. The first myth is people read on the web. Okay. The numbering myth number 1 here is the exact numbering that I took from the website. So you'll find myth number 1, and the next one is myth number 32. So I took only 4 myths for the sake of this presentation that I thought it would be great to tell you about. But you can go to uxmyth.com and surf through all other myths. Okay. People read on the web. People only read word by word. يقروا كلمة بس لما يكونوا interested about a topic في الارticle. يعني إذا أنت interested في topic معين بتقرأ التوبيك ده word by word كامل من الأول للنهاية فقط. لكن if you're not interested you just scan the page, you just skim, you go through it. Like there's an analysis I'll be reading here. It's about 50 to 60%. Sorry, about people always read 20 or 30% of a topic and then skim through the other 70 or 80%. They just need the headlines. They just need the interesting words just to find it. Is this topic interesting or not? Okay. What is the benefit of this? What is the user experience here? So if you want something to be interesting, في حاجات معينة الفونتس مثلا الخطوط. So الهيدلاينز بتعملوا بخط أكبر من التوبيك نفسه. لو في sub أو subtitle في الحاجة بتعملوا بخط أصغر شوية. بتعمل bold لو الحاجة دي مهمة inside the topic. If inside the topic حاسس إن الحاجة دي ممكن تهم الزول ممكن تعملها bold. This is grabs interest. This is psychology, basic psychology. So people always find bold things, colorful things interesting, always. The next myth is myth number 32. Success happens overnight. Okay. في حاجات معروفة عند الناس بتقول إنه والله الزول ده كان زول عادي وعمل له شركة ل 5 شهور كده والليلة ما عمل له شركة قبل 5 شهور وقام فجأة كده نطة فجأة كده جاته قروش فجأة كده عمل باع products كثيرة جدا جدا فجأة overnight. Success happens overnight. Okay. These people here says that success don't happen overnight. This is what they say is, for example, the Apple iPod. The iPod came and turned the MP3 world into a disaster, and then made that everybody is carrying an iPod. I'm talking about the US mainly. So أي زول خلى ال MP3 ومشى الآيبود. لكن الحاجة اللي حصلت زي ما قالوا الناس overnight. No, it didn't. طيب نمشي قدام مثلا. Google made Gmail about 2005 2000. الناس كلها تستخدم في الوقت ذاك الفلاش. Google made up a Gmail with its crazy JavaScript stuff, and then go forward to the Gmail, and people didn't like it. Gmail was the worst email because there was Yahoo, there was Hotmail, massive emails. Now Gmail has over 2 billion accounts. 2 billion accounts, and the most famous. This is not overnight. That was hard work. That was years of hard work, years of convincing the user that this thing is the best. Okay, I have 2 more examples. Twitter founded by Biz Stone is the guy who founded Twitter. He has been creating blogging and social products and mobile social products for 8 years. 8 years of creating blogging and mobile social products, and then he founded Twitter. It was an overnight success. No, it was an 8-year success. Second is Angry Birds. We all know the game, Angry Birds. I think most of you have the game in his phone now. But Angry Birds, the mobile game, was a huge success, a success overnight. The company, Rovio made over 50 games and almost went to bankrupt. Get away with this. Almost. And then Angry Birds came, and then Angry Birds gone viral. And then, in 5 days, 2.5 million users have downloaded Angry Birds. A $600 million revenue in 5 days. In only 5 days. Success overnight in 5 days, but it's not overnight. It was a 50-game success. 50 games before success. It was 2 or 3 years success. This is not overnight. Okay. This is a small method. This is a little one. White space is wasted space. White space. لما أقول لك ويب سايت فيه white space أي زول ممكن يقول لي Google have a web page, only one web page, have just the logo in the middle and a long text box and 2 buttons. One is the search button and the other is useless. Yeah, it's useless. They created the other just because just to let the user feel that
option.
Yeah, they have an option exactly. They want the user to feel safe because we always have the imagination of submitting cancel button, right? We always have the login and exit button, the login and cancel button. They want to make the user feel more in home. They feel so. The search one, the other one is I feel lucky. I'm feeling a little bit. So they made something good. But what I'm talking about is the white space. The white space around those ones. The white space. This is not something for fun. Now Google made white space usable. User experience are talking about the white space are always a negative space. People always think of white space or negative space. They always look at the colorful things. They always look at the buttons, the things that they care about. But white space is not. Okay, user experience tend to take the white space into another level to make it valuable, to make it more not neglected. Is to be regarded as an active element. Paul Ment is a guy who invented the term white space is negative space. And the same Paul, the same guy, in 2 years, just said this, and I quote, is to be regarded, the white space, is an essential element in web design and is to be regarded as an active element, not a passive background. The same way. Okay, so what's the importance? What's the benefit? The benefit is the importance of white space in the web design allows for easier readability and scannability. So if it's white and the text is black, you feel good, right? Prioritizing, making it priority, prioritizing the user interface elements, guides user on a page. It guides you to the page. So you always feel safe, feel that this thing is that this article is interesting when it has a nice shape, a lot of white space, it's clear, it's clean. So cleanliness always means white, right? That's it. So white space is not wasted space. This is list number 3. Okay, Myth number 4. The last one, my personal favorite, is mobile users are distracted. So I think most of you are working and have a smartphone, are always distracted with WhatsApp, social media, Facebook, Twitter. You're always distracted. But I'll be giving you 4 fun facts. 4 facts that will make you think that that mobile users are distracted and not distracted. Okay, you'll see. First of all, mobile is not on the go. دايما لما زول يفكر في اقول لك موبايل يوزرز بتفكر في واحد ماشي نحو المواصلات شايل التليفون وجاري ولا زول ماشي في الشارع بعاين في واتساب. It's not on the go. Mobile users are not on the go. Definitely not. But I'll be reading statistics. Okay. Google. I was fantasizing about Google. Google's multi-screen study found that 60% of smartphone usage takes place at home. 60%. Isn't that a huge amount of people that uses the smartphone home in their houses, in their work? Comparison about computers that are used 69% and tablets 79% at a time at home. Okay. Insight Now found that 68% of mobile usage, excluding calls, text messages, and email, is at home. This is interesting. So, distractions are everywhere. It's not on mobile. You always see in front of the TV, the computer, the laptop, and the tablet, for example, if we consider it's not mobile, but okay. TV, you're always distracted watching a series, watching a movie in the TV, working on the laptop, or even surfing through the web from the PC. You're always distracted, right? So distractions are the same, mobile and other devices, or electronic devices. Mobile engagement is now higher than desktop. So now mobile-only usage. This is Facebook. Facebook said that mobile-only usage is on a steady rise. So 30% of Facebook's active users, 30% من active users of Facebook بيستخدموا فقط التليفون. فقط. Nothing else. Not phone, not PCs, not tablets, nothing. Only phones. 30%. This is a huge amount. Okay. The fun fact, mobile is most definitely in the bathroom. Yeah. It is fun. It's in the bathroom. So I'll be reading the statistics again. Okay, a study of Google, Facebook, and Twitter shows that 78% of people uses their phones in the bathroom. Yeah, it is funny. They run this statistic on 2.3 million. 76% of people, of 2.3 million, uses their phones in the bathroom. Okay, this is funny. 75%, I'm sorry, of 2.3 million admit to using phone while in the bathroom. Okay. Last but not least, I'll be presenting an example. This is like a conclusion of user experience design. Okay. consider this as a product. This is a product. Cereals, Haroub al-Fatur, Cornflakes, it's a company, but we use this for this. Cornflakes. This is the product. Have a spoon and cereals and milk and a pot. This is the product. Okay. This is user experience. The pot inside, the cereals inside the pot with the milk, the spoon inside is ready to be eaten. Is ready. So users take information using the user interface. This is the user interface now. The spoon is the user interface. So people always see the user interface. They don't see the inside. They don't see the product. They see the user interface to use it, to eat, to get information, to get feedback, to get interesting things using the spoon, the user interface. So, to be more specific, what is the server? If this is the product and this is the user experience, and the other one is the user interface, what is the server? This is the server. Okay, the big pot that has all the cereals inside, this is the server. This is what users take information from. Take information, take data. Okay, this is server. So someone asked me what is the data center? Yeah, this is the data center. Okay. Yeah. People on the network fields and security always laugh at this. It's like I'm making fun of them. Okay. Yeah, this is the data center, this is the server, and the product. So we use the product to produce a better user experience. So the UI is still the UI. The spoon doesn't change, but the content always changes. So people design, user experience designers design the content, but design the user interface, because the user interface is a part of the user experience. But the product, the whole product is the important. المهم في الموضوع كله البرودكت. إنه أعطاني البرودكت بصورة جميلة عشان to get information. I'm done. Thank you very much. So if you have any comment or a question, just ask me. Before you do, I have two websites, the UX Mix that I told you about, and UX is not UI, if you want to learn more about UX. Okay. Questions, comments, anything? I think there's not. Okay, then thank you. I can see.
Hi everyone, my name is Nadal Amin. I am fresh graduate, Computer Science. I'm from a cyber team member. I have one question, which is, as you mentioned, a lot of examples for successful companies. Do you mean that UX is an important factor in their success journey? If you say yes, how could people utilize this important factor?
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. As an answer, I was telling you about user experience, about success is overnight. User experience here is people used user experience, used this easy scientific process to get into the right product in the right time. So the success is not overnight. So this means that UX helps you a lot to achieve that success, if I answered your question correctly. Thank you very much. Another question? Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Ahmed Abdurrahman, University. I have comment.
Okay.
Yes, I see in the presentation that you write UX is easy to learn or do it or to think about. But I'm not agree with you because this is experience. And experience need a lot of times to read, to do it, and after that to transfer it. So I think it's very difficult because you need a lot of years that to have this experience. And also I have a comment that the main issue that affect experience is environment, because I can say it is style. When I see web page or user interface, I have some, can I say, this is from Sudan, this is from Africa, this is from Middle East, this is from Europe, from colors, from words, from for that this is style. And I want to know what's your opinion about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the user experience, like you said, it takes a little bit more time, right? And you think it's not easy. It's not easy to get to the right product at the right time. Because Twitter, for example, took 8 years to take to the product. 8 years to build the right product. But what I'm saying here is user experience and how to learn user experience. This is easy. This is the easy thing. But how to learn about user needs and business needs, this is the hard part. So the easy thing is you can learn user experience, you can be a user experience designer, but you need one factor, you need one thing. If you enjoy asking a lot of questions, and bear the time, and bear the consequences, and bear the user characteristics, you can be a good UX designer. That's what I'm saying. And yes, success doesn't be overnight, but you can make success overnight. Thank you very much. Another question, comment?
Any questions? I have a comment. User experience is not that much difficult. Your opinion. User experience, you can get it from the users. And يعني أنا ممكن أقول إنه اليوزرز ما حيصعب أنا أطلع منهم الحاجات اللي هم عايزينها. يعني إذا ما في الماركتينج أنا بطلع جروب بجيب الحاجة اللي عايزينها اليوزرز بالشكل اللي عايزينه، إذا ويب سايت بالشكل اللي عايزينه، بالألوان اللي عايزينها، بأي حاجة هم عايزينها. فما عايزة مني جهد إن أنا زي ما قلت أنت إنه أمشي أقرأ، أمشي أعمل كورس، أمشي أطلع برا أعمل شهادة بتاعت يوزر إكسبيرينس أو حاجة زي دي. فأنا بس بقول إنه كلام ما
No, I'm speaking about the other issue. I'm speaking that you want to design a website or user interface, and you want to make it more comfortable, more easy to know how to get information from it. When you start your presentation, directly I see logo about Tiger Group. I think this logo is very expressive. Directly, you know, their works, types, companies, something like that. What does I mean? I mean you need to display a lot of things in one time, very quickly. And this needs experience, this needs a lot of time that you will. My other point that I said is style, because in university I have a lot of students. Directly in the group, when different students make the design, directly I said this is for Omar, this is for Osman. Because I know how he is thinking, so that from web page directly I can guess this is from Sudan, this is from Europe, and like this. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a comment صغير كده في الموضوع ده. You're talking about style. User experience forbids this. ما ينفع تمشي بالستايل، ما ينفع تمشي بالpersonal opinion. ما ينفع. This is bad. This is not a UX. ما بتكون a good UX في البرودكت بتاعك. So you need to get the style. Okay, ما مشكلة. And then apply this style to the user-centered design process, to the process. بعدك ممكن تلقى انه ممكن اليوزر نفسه هو راوي يتعلم مما انت بتعرض له. يعني you measure, then you get the style, you measure the user needs. Then you design with your own style. Then you build according to your own style. And then you launch. The user said, this is not what I wanted. دي ما الحاجة أنا عايزها. ليه؟ لأنك دخلت الستايل بتاعك. طيب لو أنت شلت اليوزر نيدز نفسها وعملت ديزاين as it is, as what the user, well, this is depend on the questions اللي أنت بتسألها اليوزر. So an experience في الموضوع إنه getting to know the user by asking them questions, a lot of questions. عشان كده برضه برجع تاني للبوينت بتاعت إنه you need to ask a ton of questions to get the information and not follow your personal style or personal opinion. Thank you. Another question?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ilham Salah, work at Dal, ICT. I have some comment about easier being UX.